probably work. Alright, we've got a stream. Let's continue where we left off. I actually forgot something last time. Yes. I know, right? Watching your own videos helps. And then there's another bit that we need. And I've been thinking about this part of prison. What are we missing here? There was something else I wanted to install as well. I can't quite remember what it was. Alright, CCTV cameras, right? Well, we don't have that yet. We need surveillance. And what was my research like? Let's watch here. I've got psychology done. I need a bunch of things here still, so queue up surveillance after it's done with dogs. The staff room is working, the visitation is working. This visitation has just been completed. We were working on building these. Now, I'm not quite sure if prisoners are actually capable of recruiting across fences. You can look through a fence, so it would make sense. So let's upgrade this piece of fence to a little section of perimeter wall, so that in actuality the prisoners can't actually see each other. That would be nice. And let's start to think about where and when to build what with regards to this. I want to build 2 visitation centers, and it would be nice if they were just like in the same blob, so that the visitors can enter from like here, right? I should do it like so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I've come to quite like this little design we've got going for ourselves now. This door is actually mislocated by 1 square, which is going to cancel all the gravel. Not ideal. Let's put those lights in there. Now, unfortunately, that does mean relocating our jail door here to be like over here. And dismantle this one. We can reuse that for something. Most likely put in a little bit of fencing. So that's over here. At least once they're done hauling all these logs. There are quite a few logs here to haul. They're quite busy with that. Meanwhile, we can build some foundations. Now, let's plan this out actually, because I'm quite the doozy when it comes to... Now, this is the central path, right? Let's put in 5 on each side. Because to be entirely honest, my other visitor center isn't quite as beautiful as it should be. There we go. Now we know exactly the size of the building we need. We can just plonk it down like so. As well as cancel the walls that have been built over here. Speed things up. Having a bit of a cold. Oh, I should have really gotten myself some more water. I might just pause the stream for a little bit. Not really sure whether I want to. It's actually quite... I should even check this. Okay, it's working, I think. It's working. Alright, let's pause this because otherwise I'm going to stream myself again. And we don't want that. We're just having that open to see if there's anyone here, but there's nobody watching us at the moment. Or at least nobody who wants to talk, which is fine. I don't really care about that stuff. I care about just building a prison. Having a little bit of fun. A bunch of workmen going back and forth. Actually quite a mess. sorts of logs in there. A spare bit of concrete. We don't have enough space, don't we? Yeah, we do have enough space, so that will be fine. Planning out the next thing we want to build. So we have visitor centers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, this is one visitor center, but you know, actually we should build into 2 visitation rooms though, because if I don't, then the game might get a little bit confused about all this. Yeah, see, I can't actually. Oh, that's a little bit unfortunate. I can't actually share this. Let's go with 2 doors then. A bit unfortunate, but that's the wrong door to dismantle, I think. Yeah. I'll dismantle this door as well then. Install a new concrete wall. This should allow me to... Yes, there we go. This is what I wanted. I wanted to separate this so we can actually, you know, have our prison just the way we want it. Which, as it turns out, involves this kind of complicated contraption. Now, these are our gang member area, so we want to actually build individual cells here. Now let's plan out a lot of them, because these are gang members. They can't actually work, right? Now, since we researched small cells, it would be remiss of me not to use them. And actually I can just plan out as many cells as I need or want. And I can actually continue here because we don't need that much safety. It's not super max, it's just regular max security. Now I do want a nice hallway in between. That's big enough to accommodate. I think 2 tiles should be all right. Looks like it's fine. Now we do need a few accommodations for our gang members that are useful. One of them is, of course, spirituality, and the other thing is food would be pretty useful to have. And maybe I want to build my entrance room somewhere. I was thinking of building it up here. Make a bit of sense because it's close to the staff room, so it's easy for the guards to shift in and out. That's something to think about. We also want a security room somewhere near this yard, and we want to actually have all the other rooms that the gang members can claim next to the security room. If I'm correct, that would mean the common room as well, so we want to plan that out. Now, this is a yard, right? And we want to surround it with walls. It was 12 by 20, so it should be 12 by 22. Yeah, that's correct. All right, now let's put in some grass so that the yard is covered with grass, just like the regular old standard yard. And the normal security yard, although I'm not really going to build any cells for those guys yet. This will keep the workmen busy. Let's see, I've got my visitation here. I might as well put my security room in the center. And that would mean putting down some foundations over here for our common room. I'll make it quite sizable. It should be a decent size. Should allow us to put enough stuff in the to keep quite a few prisoners occupied. No, I just want a regular door for this. Or I could put in a jail door and just putting a jail door is like lock it open. The advantage of using a jail door over using a normal door is that with a jail door, if something actually does happen, something bad like a riot or something, then you can just close your jail door and stop the riot and get your armed guards over there. That would be quite useful. I really also want this to be next to security. And this as well. Now what we do want to do is we do want to have some scanners and some dogs on the entrance to the security room. And I just hope that because it's close enough that'll suffice, but I don't think so. So we might have to be a little bit creative in order to get things to work. Now we can't actually have our scanner inside of the security room, I think. Not any reasonable way in any case. And if I look at the risk, okay, so they can steal jail keys, batons, cigs, and lighters. So we actually need both a dog and a scanner, or a metal detector, to stop the prisoners from taking stuff from security. Now the problem is that I can't put the metal detector inside of security because then they'll steal things right before they enter the metal detector. So I have to put it inside of the other room, which means we'll need 2 of all of these things, right? And we also need some extra walling in order to actually make this work, because we also need to station a dog right over here and over here. I can't actually because we haven't researched those yet. How close are we? 2 hours. Okay. Now let's put down some foundations. Now this way we should be able to see. Have a security room adjacent to the yard and the other thing, which should allow all the guards inside of the security room to count towards the occupation of these 2 things. Which the thing is with gang members is if you have a gang member inside of a yard, then they'll claim it. And if someone from another gang comes into that same yard, they'll start fighting with each other, which isn't really ideal because if people punch each other, there is a chance, that they'll actually start punching my guards, or that they'll kill themselves or each other. Well, that's actually not entirely necessary, because we can just prevent them from having these fights at all. Let's see, we'll need some of that everywhere. I might want to split this up. How's it doing? It's doing all right, so for now we can just keep everything on the same power source. As you can see there, it's quite nice. Now we need some booths here so the prisoners don't just escape. That'll do. Only quite enough. Now we do need another jail door. Let's put it over here and over here. I still need surveillance and dogs, but I can't put in a door control. Or 2. That way we can actually start regulating our general doors. Once they start closing up, we'll need to be able to add these to some servos, which will do that right away. Let's install some servos on the most important through doors, which include, that's actually not the way I want to point you. There we go, that should, and one over here as well. One on the entrance of this cell block, and quite possibly one on the entrance of this cell row once this is built. I think I'll put in an entrance here. Put in a little piece of wall. That's quite all right. I can put in... Oh, that's not allowed. That's not quite what I want. That should do. It requires an entrance. Just put in a regular door here so people can get in and out. Because this is actually not going to be the end of this building, right? I'm going to build the high security thing just as one large building. And the normal security is going to be like all small buildings with different functions. So we have a little bit of variety. Should upgrade this to a concrete wall. Or, just tell them to, just demolish all these walls. For now. Should allow this whole thing to pop into place. There's still a couple tiles missing, so... see? This guy's bringing over a little bit of plate metal to do the last bits. Well, actually quite a few. Well, the entire side needs to be redone apparently. So didn't actually construct the foundations under the fencing. Which makes sense. I mean, there's a fence in the way. How can you lay down your new foundations, right? Right now, all my deployment actually got messed up because of that. It's a little bit unfortunate that that happens in this game. It doesn't... I haven't quite figured out how to do that yet. It's interesting how this is now separated from each other. I can actually tell them that. Which parts of the visitations are actually... Now let's put in a common room. Which is actually going to include these two tiles. It's like the yard includes these two tiles, so that it's actually right adjacent to the security. And actually, to be really precise, we'll actually adjoin them like so. What this should do is in the gangs screen. Oh, it doesn't actually tell me yet because we don't have any gang members yet. Apparently, does this fail to be indoors for some reason? Maybe because there's still a little tile here. Not quite sure what's messing this up. It just doesn't count as indoors. It should, right? Okay, it's now all right. We're gonna put some things in here, like all the things that the prisoners could want. One of these as well. Now this is the gang member section, so holding AA meetings is entirely pointless because they won't attend them because they're bastards like that. So I can just put in a couple sofas and a couple TVs and just call it a day. Well, maybe we want some prayer mats as well. This is nearly complete. There's still a hole in the wall. For some reason. Not quite sure why. Absolutely fascinating. Right, we got rid of the hole in the wall, so we can design our cells, which are going to be strangely very reminiscent of the Supermax cells. In fact, they're going to be exactly the same design. I'm not really known for you're in prison, you get to have the same cell as everyone else. Well, everyone else with the same kind of security parameters, that is. Now, as for utilities, we need a water boiler. I can put that right there. There's actually a large pipe going through this here section, which is actually quite perfect for the things we want to do, which involve running a pipe all the way down here. I hope that's actually going to be not too long, especially this one. There's actually 41 meters. That might just be stretching it a little bit. This should be fine. A sort of putting it out there. Right, let's put out some radiators as well. One over here and one more over here. It's unfortunate that the radiators aren't near utilities, but if you build your pipes first and pause time, you can see where exactly you plan to put your radiators, which helps. Now we should be able to now clone these cells because the workmen appear to be done with the piping. Let's give them another task. Each of these cells can house a single gang member. Of course, I'm putting the gang members in their own cells just to minimize the risk of them being in contact with other members of different gangs for a large amount of the time. It just seems like it wouldn't be such a great idea. Now these door controls actually need some power. And we need to connect them up to all of our servos. There's one over here. Actually, all of the servos are getting duplicated. Alright, well, we can hook up door controls later if we so desire. I might want to do that anyway with all the max and super max cells in the end, right? Because it is actually quite nice to be able to have a guard open or close a cell door, because they'll respond immediately to riots and other things that occur inside of cell blocks, which is quite nice. And they've built this. Now we want to have a kitchen and a canteen. Now what I want to do is I want to build a kitchen that can serve two canteens. One on the left side and one on the right side. So we want our kitchen to be below the yard over here, so that some prisoners can still work in it. Right? Some of these prisoners can still work in. Might be a strange idea, actually, to give prisoners with a volatile trait access to kitchen knives. They're not female though, so that helps. I might have seen too much anime. I think this is an okay size for the kitchen. This is what, 64. Now, to be efficient, we want our kitchen as 64, 8 times 8. And to be efficient, we want the kitchen size to be a multiple of 12. So 60 would work. That would be this size. 72 would also work. It's 12 times 6, or what else computes to 72? Any other divisors? It's interesting, the number theory actually comes in quite useful for prison architects, isn't it? You want a nice rectangular shape, but you also want something divisible by 12. So how do we do that, right? So one useful thing is that you look at the divisors of 12, which is 12 and 6. So you can either go 12 by 12, or 12 by anything, which would work. And if I go 12 by something, so I can say 12 by 10, which I believe is really overkill, but actually, no, that's not true. These prisoners can't work in the kitchen at all. Now that I think about it, it's entirely pointless. It's much better to have our kitchens on this side only. Well, except for the Supermax kitchen, but I mean, I'm not going to let prisoners into a canteen with Supermax prisoners, right? Only cooks. So cooks are going to have to bring food. Actually, this is going to be the same here because cooks have to cross this road, right? We can't build bridges, which is a little bit sad. But yeah, you don't have bridges in this mode or second floor, so there's no way to do that, at least easily, right? If we also want to have this path going through. But yeah, over here we could have done this as well, like put the kitchen on this side, right? Have prisoners from the regular block work in it. You know what, that's fine. These guys can't work in the kitchen either. So let's actually do that over here, right? Over here in the supermarket, I want everything self-contained. This is kind of better, I think. Just safer. I don't want traffic going in and out of this. A lot of traffic. As few people to go through as possible, just to minimize the risk of any of them ever getting out, because they'll cause a rampage. Right, they're just so much more dangerous. So actually, I'm okay with this. Yeah, thinking about it a little more, I'm fine with this. This is fine. Everything's burning down. This is fine. Yeah. So we want some canteens. One on the right side, one on the left side. This is the way the visitation is positioned. We want our first canteen is probably going to go over here. The other canteen is probably going to go over here. And plan them out. Not really sure what I'm going to do with that little space that's going to be left over. 10 wide, 15 tall. That's going to leave room for how many? 4? That seems fine. And then over here, well, this canteen can be a little bit smaller for now, I think. Right? It should quite suffice, because there's going to be much less prisoners in here. Now, the reason why they can't actually cook is because cooking requires them to complete a program, and they're volatile, right? Normal security are guys that need suppression but are not in a gang, so they're probably volatile. It's like the only kind of combination of skills, of effects that can trigger that kind of thing. Now, actually, what I may want to do is put some staff doors. Dismantle this. Now we'll also need canteen entrances with an actual metal detector. Let's put one over here. Yeah, they can go into visitation with their stolen goods. What are they going to do over there? Not much. Well, I guess it's fine. We do need a little bit of a thing here just to make sure that they actually go through the metal detector or just walk past. That one would be bad. And we'll build 2 more canteens, which go here and here. Now, as you've probably seen, there is a little bit of a wall that needs to be replaced here and there. And let's put in a little bit of gravel here. Just because I don't like escaping prisoners. Because I can actually escape quite fairly easily through the shortcuts provided here, and we are providing some shortcuts. I can give the cooking prisoners access to these canteens if I want, but I'm not really going to, because that's probably also going to cause the regular prisoners to go in there unless I schedule it. I really don't want to deal with the hassle. Let's put in some kitchens. Now what I want to do is I want to build 2 kitchens, one for each canteen. That would be nicest. So another way of doing it is doing a 6x6 kitchen, which would mean an 8x8 building. Or rather 8x15. There we go. Add some cells. Actually, no. I want this to be accessible by prisoners so we can have informants from this block. We don't need any informants in here, obviously, because they're already snitches. What's the point? I'm not really that interested in contraband, and besides, prisoners are psychic when it comes to contraband, even though, you know, prisoners in here will never become in contact with prisoners in here. If someone actually goes up to 100%, they'll know about all the contraband in the prison, independent of the fact that there's actually like a road and 2 layers of fences and 2 layers of buildings in between the 2 areas of the prison. They don't care. They'll just magically know about everything. Right. And some benches. As I explained already, filling it up is no problem. Put a couple serving tables as well. I do want the cabling to go in here. Attach all these extra things. Random metal detectors and whatnot. A little bit overkill. A couple of kitchens. 2 kitchens. And then what we can do is we can go into logistics, go into food distribution, and assign each kitchen its own separate canteen. This is very pretty. Yeah, that's essentially what we want. We want this cell block for that canteen. And then this cell block still needs a canteen, but we'll figure that out later. So using 6x6 kitchens is kind of nice because it's probably actually just the right size to fit in just what you need to serve a canteen. Also, we need some extra sinks in the staff room because staff are stupid and they can't clean their own plates worth a damn. What happens if you don't have sinks is that you get a pile up of dirty plates and then they stop eating. Yeah, it's a little bit silly, but it just happens to be like that. Let's put in a pipe that goes over here so I can actually serve these kitchens. Alright, a bunch of appliances. Now I do want some prison labor in here. Now the easiest way is to actually maybe have a kitchen complex. And we can put up to 4 kitchens in. And we only need 1 metal detector and dog for the 4 kitchens. Which that would be quite nice. Though I'm going to put 2 metal detectors because kitchens kind of always carry a lot of dangerous equipment with them. And we really don't want our prisoners getting their hands on that after they're done working in our kitchens. Let's put in another 6. Actually, 1 more. There we go. What that allows us to do is put in 2 more kitchens. Up here and up here. And then what we can do is we can put in some canteens. Now these are going to be quite large canteens. I want canteens with a capacity of, let's say, 50 or so prisoners each. Ideally 52, so that would mean 2 serving tables. Right, over here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 8. 7 times 8 is 56, so that should be enough actually. Well, these are going to be our 2 canteens for this area. Let's plan out these walls just so I don't forget where they're supposed to go. While the workmen kill the trees. Put in some doors. Now I want one. I want 2 access ways actually, just for safety measures. I'm gonna make it pretty. Oh no, what's smarter? It'll sort of go over here anyway. Yeah, we'll do it like so. If anything, it looks cooler. There's still some flies buzzing because of garbage. We do have a garbage area, so it should be taken care of soon. I do want some servos on these doors because they're going to be quite important doors. Ah, that's why everyone's milling about. These walls still have to be cleared out. There still is a jail door. Oh, it's inside of a box apparently, so that's fine. I do want a staff door over here and over here. And put in a couple serving tables. And benches. And some fridges. And a couple of cookers. I like to do like 2 fridges per cooker. Some sinks in here as well. So nice and fast building this. That should do. Utilities are almost done. Now is my... it's going to be capable of handling it, but I mean, it's not going to be capable of it for long, so I might build an extra power station. This is actually a nice spot for it, so yeah, let's actually sever this cable and put in a new power station. Now we're going to need to put that inside of a building, just because they have a tendency to burn down. Now it's obviously not going to be able to handle this, so it's going to... it's going to immediately, yeah, it's going to immediately be like, boom! I can't handle this many utilities. Okay, let's refire it. Kadunk. There you go. Now I can handle it. Easy, man. No problem. As you can see, these kitchens alone consume about 1/3 of the power of this thing, so it's entirely necessary to get ourselves a 3rd power group just to be a little bit on the safe side. Get these lights going, and now we're easily going to be able to handle it. Actually, the Supermax thing is quite full. Let's get some extra capacitors in here. because I'm likely going to want to install extra things as we get our prisoners, because I'm likely going to have to forgotten things. Remove this planning, we don't need it anymore. Same with any... I do want that planning, but... I don't know what all of that was for, but let's put in our tables, which we apparently forgot to put in here. We need a serving table. There's a bunch of benches and tables. Not that many, actually. Just enough so that everyone at least has some form of... this is staff only. This is our power plant, right? Yeah. As should this be, as well as that. That should be MinSec, so they know where to go. Our security room is accessible. I guess that is fine the way it is. Now I also really want a security room accessible by these guys, so we'll probably build a third one, but that can wait. That can wait. Now the question is, what other things do we need immediately? The important rooms that spring to mind are the laundry and the cleaning cupboard. Now we probably only need one cleaning cupboard. That seems sufficient, so let's put it right in the middle, so it's right efficiently located, so that this prisoners can just clean this entire area of the prison by themselves. Now you want the cleaning cupboard to then be, let's put it up here, just so we don't interfere with expansions to visitation. We want it to be 10 by 8. So about this big. Will allow 20 prisoners to work in the cleaning cupboard. Now importantly, of course, you do want a good entrance. So let's build that now. So you can put a dog in here. Now you probably also want, is not one of those bad doors, but just a nice jail door. Of course, my entire facility just went out the window just because I removed that one door. That's still annoying. That's a feature. I'll say that as if that's a feature. Now let's put in some laundry. I like putting it next to the cleaning cupboard. We need it to be 11 meg only. Let's wait until the foundation actually completes so that it doesn't remove the wall. And let's put in an extra space here as well. Now these can just have regular jail doors and that's about it. You don't need any special checks or anything before the laundry, because they apparently can't do anything dangerous from it. I mean, you would say a laundry iron would make some good shank material, but apparently those are fine. Now we need a metal detector, otherwise things would... Oh, we don't actually need that for this room, but since we've got a checkpoint here anyway, we might as well install one. We might catch some people that smuggled something from elsewhere and then start to work. Now where is our... We need another cleaning cupboard, just like that, and we can immediately assign a lot of prisoners to work here. You can see we can assign the exact maximum. Now we also need a laundry. One will do for now. Let's install all the machines we might ever need into it. Actually, already have 2 spares. Now there's also going to be some non-prisoners working here. We need 8 of those. And 16 of these. 4, 8, 16. It's fairly easy to remember, really. There's already some power running through here, so that's kind of nice. Now we also need some water. We do have a pipe running, but not quite in the right direction. I'd like to extend this pipe instead, all the way up here, and then just attach it like so. If you have just like a nice little pattern of pipes going so, and then maybe that direction, or in our case this direction, then you don't need any more. We don't need any more small pipe, large pipes in between here, right? We can do all the access we want from any angle we want with the small pipes. Just sort of like you want to have about 80 tiles in between here. I don't know how much this is. 70 meters, so that's actually quite close to ideal, right? Because this way is 30 meters. And this way is also less than 40, so no matter where we put our cells or things, we'll always be able to access them with small pipes. We don't need to build any more large ones. You want to minimize the amount of large pipes you have because it allows for easier tunneling. It allows prisoners to go places, and that means they can join forces and dig faster, which actually is something they do actually quite well. You'd be surprised, right? And then they dig faster, and it's really hard to stop them from getting out. Speaking of digging, I may want to already start upgrading some of the things to perimeter wall here, just because it's really easy for them to dig out of this part. Same here, right? This section here should really be a perimeter wall, just to make them like go this way. It's going to make them much harder for them to actually dig their way out. We don't need to upgrade everything, just like these little sections, because we'll have to remove it once we actually get this bit of land, right? So building a perimeter wall just to remove it seems kind of wasteful. And we don't have that much money, right? And we'll run out quite quickly if we don't get our prison running soon. So we need to make sure that we have all we need. And then, all right, next is labor in here. 20 guys, just like that. You can also put 3 jobs in each kitchen, although they won't be actually used quite yet. Put the metal detectors in with the kitchens, same as the canteens. Apparently these kitchens and canteens are in one group by themselves. I might attach a workshop or something like that. That's probably the thing we'll need next, but let's see here. Which rooms do we have? We have just about everything, but we still need a chapel. Now, I'm not quite sure how big the chapel needs to be, because there is a limit as to how many pews and things you can have. I think it's 40. I might be wrong about that.